Okay, hello. Today
Hello.
is April 17th, 2022. My name is Alexandra Rodriguez. I'm interviewing Jaime Uvalle for the University Library Special Collections and Archives at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, hereafter abbreviated as UTRGV. This project is in partnership with the Voces Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. Please know that this interview will be placed in the University Library Special Collections and Archives at UTRGV and shared with the Voces Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. If there is anything you do not wish to answer or talk about, I will honor your wishes. Also, if there is something you want to talk about, please bring it up and we'll talk about it. The University Library Special Collections and Archives will archive your interview along with any other photographs and other documents you are willing to share. UTRGV and the University Library will retain copyright or non-exclusive right to the interview and any other materials you donate to Special Collections and Archives at UTRGV. Because we are not conducting this interview in person, I need to record you consenting to make sure you agree with our interview procedures. Before we continue, so I'll ask you a series of 6 questions. Please say, yes, I agree, or no, I do not agree after each question. Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, hold on a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so number one, do you give University Library Special Collections and Archives at UTRGV consent to archive your interview and your materials at the UTRGV University Library?
I agree.
Do you grant UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives right, title, and interest in copyright over the interview and any materials you provide?
Yes, I agree.
Do you agree to allow UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives to post this interview on the internet where it may be viewed by people around the world?
I agree.
Do you grant the University Library Special Collections and Archives consent to share your Zoom interview with the Voces Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin for inclusion in the Voices of Pandemic Oral History mini project, which will include posting the interview on the internet?
I agree.
As you recall, we previously filled out a pre-interview form. We use information from the pre-interview form to help in research. The entire form is kept in a secure Voces server at the University of Texas at Austin before Voces sends it UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives. We would have stripped out any contact information for yourself or family members so that will not be part of your public file. Your public file will only be accessible at UTRGV University Library. The final 2 questions ask for your consent on what I just described. Number 5, do you wish for us to share the rest of your interview in your public file available to researchers at UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives?
I agree.
On occasion, UTRGV Special Collections and Archives and Voces receive requests from journalists who wish to contact our interview subjects. We only deal with legitimate news outlets. Do you give consent for us to share your phone number or email with journalists?
Mm, I agree.
You could agree or say, no, I do not agree.
Okay, yeah. No, no, I don't agree. The last one. No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your consent. Your experiences and stories mean a lot to us at UTRGV Special Collections and Archives. I look forward to what you say in the interview questions as I will now ask. Okay. Jaime, thank you for your time. Like I said earlier, your stories and experiences are valuable to us at UTRGV Special Collections and Archives and to our partners at the Voces Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. Because you work in the medical field, experience COVID-19 situations in Brownsville first-handedly, and you also advocate COVID-19 safety and health regulations within the Mexican American community because you are a father, dialysis technician, and an advocate for COVID-19 safety. I know your stories are meaningful and will impact society's views towards medical workers, fathers, and the seriousness of COVID-19. So before we talk about COVID-19 stories, can you please share with us a bit about yourself, who you are and how you wish to be known? Who is Jaime Uvalle?
Hello. Yes, my name is Jaime Uvalle. I'm a dialysis technician. Been a dialysis technician for 16 years already. Um, I am a husband, a father of three, and like I said, I've been in the dialysis medical field for 16 years already, and that's about it. I would like to be remembered as a good technician uh, that always gave his best at work.
Okay, thank you. This first section of questions asks you to please share your stories and memories from when the COVID-19 pandemic made its first impacts in December 2019 to about the summer of 2020. So, the first question I want to ask you is, can you share some memorable stories about how you first heard or learned about COVID-19, such as the radio, the TV, children, social media, etc.?
Yes, actually by the news as well, like most of us did. First started in the news. So right away at work, they did some changes, meaning like everybody does know about using mask already and handling the patients totally different from that point on. Um, of course, we would always use gloves. We wouldn't use masks before. We always use a shield, but they wanted us to start using a mask, like I said, to prevent any contamination or any spreading of the virus.
Okay, so what were some early reports or rumors about COVID-19 that you remember back in 2020?
Well, some of the rumors, like we already know, that it started. It usually doesn't hit you because when you see the news, we all know it started not in the U.S. So
Yes.
we never thought that it was gonna happen here, that it was gonna come this way. So when it first started, it was like, okay, well, it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen over there. It's not gonna happen here in the U.S. because we're well protected. So that was most of the starting with COVID. It wasn't like it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me that much because like I said, it started way not in the U.S. So at that point, it didn't hit me that much.
So, at what point did you realize this pandemic was a serious life-altering event? Or do you not think it's serious? Why?
Yes, yes, it is serious. As a matter of fact, I lost my best friend, my employee, my teammate. I lost him of COVID last year, September of this past September, September 11th. He lost the battle. Um, so it did happen. It did happen here. It happened to many of the patients as well. We lost so many patients due to COVID. So So it is real. It is real as
So
it is
you
right now.
quickly, so
Yes,
you quickly realized that it was really serious.
yes, yes.
And do you remember what was like for you during the stay-at-home orders in 2020? Do you have any stories from this time you could tell?
Well, being a working at the medical field, we didn't have any stay at home. We had to work. I had to work because, as everybody knows, if you work in the medical field, there wasn't any off time for us. We had to be super precautious of doing our work. Um we used to go to work and wash hands every time, like we always do, but it was like more serious. We had to, as we treat our patients, always we treat them like if they're infected of something. It's always like that in the medical field. You have to treat every patient the same, even if
Yes,
they don't have anything. But
precaution.
you have to, yes. So it was super cautious. Sometimes, like we always do, like we get home, we change our shoes. We don't take our shoes inside just to. I mean, we don't want to spread out to our kids, to our family. So it was very, very, very important to do all that, to take action and not just let it go by and now no nothing's gonna happen.
So, over the last couple of years, what news media, social media, or other sources do you rely on to keep you informed about COVID-19?
Uh, I'm more into the Fox News. I think they're more serious about their news more than, and I know, I think sometimes CNN does lie. I mean, I know for a fact that media does lie sometimes to get ratings, but
Why do you prefer these news sources? Sorry
I think
for
they're more I
interrupting.
think they're more serious. The Fox News and the local news being I've noticed CNN takes most of the sides or tend to exaggerate a little bit more. And so I
Yes.
do like Fox News a lot better than that, better than the CNN.
Okay. Can you share with me what you understand about COVID-19 as an infectious disease and how you feel it's impacted society? And can you share with me what you don't understand about COVID and what you wish you could know more about?
Mm, I understand it is deadly for a reason. I understand we can get contaminated or spread of the virus. It's like a germ. It's like a flu. It's like a meaning serious about it. What I don't understand sometimes is that I think there's possibilities out there that could have been taken more. I don't know, medication of a precaution to prevent all that. I don't know if it's because I've heard about people getting cured right away, and then I see others don't get cured right away. I don't know if it's their immune system or it's got to do with society as well or something out there. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, so you would like to know how it affects everyone individually, like why it affects everyone differently.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
And do you feel your family has the same beliefs as you about COVID-19, or are there some members who take it more seriously or lightly, and how so?
No, no, definitely we do take it serious. Everybody, we're all on the same page because meaning my wife, she works in the medical field as well. She's a respiratory therapist, so we gotta take extra precaution. Like I said, we've always been like that ever before COVID. Extra precaution. We tend to, like I said, take our shoes outside, not inside. Wash our hands before getting like showering right away. So I think yeah, we are on the same page. Our kids are on the same page as well.
Okay, thank you. Now we are going to enter into vaccination stories. And this next part asks you to share any stories about COVID-19 vaccines and any vaccination related stories you may wish to tell. Did you get a vaccine and any follow up booster shots? And what
Yes, I
was
did.
it?
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So
Yes, yes.
what was it like? Like, was
Um,
it easy or difficult for you in terms of scheduling and wait time?
no, no, it was easy. It was easy because, like I said, if you work in the medical field, you sometimes you get a special, being vaccinated and all that. We like I said, we have to go to work. So I think most of the medical field workers, they were treated like quickly to get the vaccine. We didn't have any problems. I didn't have any problem with it. It was fast. They scheduled me on my day off, so I went to the hospital and I got my vaccine.
Okay, can you share a memory from the place where you were vaccinated or boosted?
Yes, of course. It was the hospital here in Brownsville, Texas, Valley Baptist. Uh, I went into. I mean, everything was a line. Everything was well taken care of. I mean, we went. They scheduled you. You go in. They check you before you go in. They check your temperature. They uh, they give you a paper so you can sign, and then they give you their card, sign it, and then it was a process. And then you go to the next line, and then you enter what is the booster shots, and then once they give you that, I mean, not the booster, the vaccine. Once they give you the vaccine, you had to wait there for, I want to say, 10 to 15 minutes, see if any reaction. So they did real good. They did real good with that.
Okay, so there was no how can I say, there was no, like, I heard that in the hospitals they're running out of supplies and resources, so you wouldn't go through any of that trouble.
But no, 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 we didn't, because like I said, I mean, being working at the medical field, we tended to have I don't want to say preferences, but
But
since we
yes,
don't have off since we don't have off time, so we have to go work. It was like, okay, schedule, okay, there's a time right now at 8, go right now, do it quick. And then, so no, I didn't have that problem with supplies being short supplies now.
just like you said, how you do work in the medical field, so you guys were at a higher risk of getting COVID. So, and you guys were like supposed to get vaccinated like easier or more like quickly than everyone else, since you guys are at higher risk.
Yes, correct. The only problem was that our our employee, I mean, where I work, my dialysis uh, place, I mean, they didn't require a mandatory vaccination. So that's where the problem was. That's why I mean, maybe you're gonna ask, but if you work in the medical field, uh, should have been vaccinated. Your friend shouldn't have died. Exactly. He didn't get vaccinated. It was a choice. So we had that choice. Either we wanted to or we didn't want to. So that's what happened.
And did you wish for it to not be a choice, for them to be stricter with the vaccination?
Exactly. Exactly. My friend would have been here if it was a mandatory. For sure, he would have been here because if it was a mandatory, he needed his job, so he would have
And
gotten that vaccine.
many other coworkers agree with you as well.
Yes, definitely yes.
So this next set of questions, Jaime, are going to ask you about how COVID-19 has impacted your life in the way of your career, your family, and your well-being. Like I said before, if you are not comfortable with a certain question, you may tell me, yes, you can skip this question.
Okay.
So can you please share with me how your family life was right before COVID-19 impacted the US in the March of 2020?
Um. Well, like I said, I mean, we were always precautious, but after that, after the COVID, I mean, for sure, I mean, everybody was scared, including us. Definitely us being there at the, like I said, and if there's a war, like we're right in front of that war. So
So it
definitely
was
it changes our life. Yes.
so it was more it changed more of your perspective in life, like your feelings towards the towards the COVID, like how you said, you guys are now more like scared. That's what
Yes,
mostly changed.
yes, yes, because I mean, being there, you don't know if you're gonna like, you don't know how it's gonna happen. You don't know if you're gonna get it. You didn't know how you're gonna be like. You can be there now, and then tomorrow you start with the symptoms, and yes, it was scary. It was scary.
And how did the pandemic change your family's daily routine at home and your own personal routines?
Well, the kids, as you can see, as you know, it was a like stay home school for them, so it wasn't that much of a like us having to go to work and then bringing the virus home. It was scary. It was definitely scary, and it did change everything. It did change perspective of life. It changed everything. Now we see the world different, and we definitely need to take care of each other. Not because of a small cough or and you're gonna, oh, okay, it's nothing, but it is scary. It is scary. Now you think like, oh my god, it can happen.
Yes, I agree. And how did the pandemic impact the way you and your family celebrate holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's?
It definitely did. When the start of the before the vaccinations, definitely we didn't get together. We couldn't get together. We we took all the precautions. I mean, we only used to talk on phone or just a small one. After they started saying that maybe 10 to 15 people could hang out, that's where we started more. But it did change everything. I mean, we lost 2 years. I mean, it was two tough years with this COVID. Thank God now we're passing through it already. Everybody's vaccinated, but it did change everything. It did change life.
So, would you say that family celebrations have mostly returned to pre COVID times now in 2022?
It's starting to get there. Yes, it's starting to get there. Now everybody's vaccinated. Slowly, everybody's not mandatory mask anymore. So it is getting there, and I think it is it's gonna pass through, but it's gonna pass by. But we still gotta be extra careful.
Yes. Going back to the start of the pandemic, did you have to make any accommodations within your family because of the pandemic? If so, which ones?
Uh, Not really. Only accommodations was that staying home, the kids staying home. It was kind of it changes our routine a little bit, but it was mostly like I said. I mean, we had to go to work. We had to life had to continue almost the same, but with more precautions and more carefully. But it didn't change much. Only that perspective that we need to be extra careful.
So, would you say that there was very minimal space for accommodations within your house? Because since you like and your wife, as you said, are medical workers and still had to go to work.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we still had to continue with our life. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, it was you stay home. I mean, me being in the dialysis, I mean, they patients they need their treatment, so it's we can't stay home. So
Yeah, so it wasn't really a choice.
exactly, yes.
So, how was your well being impacted because of COVID-19?
Well,
Like your,
luckily, I'm sorry.
yes, like, sorry, no, let me elaborate on well being, such as your emotional health or your mental health.
Uh, it did my emotional health. It did bother me, and like I said, I mean, I lost my real good friend due to that. So it did it did affect me. It did affect me. Not not physically. I mean, in a way, yes, physically as well. Because I mean, we didn't stop, and now and with that the COVID protocols at work, it was we had to do a lot more. So it was physically as well. But I think more emotionally, it did affect me.
And Have you practiced any, excuse me, what has been your coping mechanisms? Have you meant, like how you mentioned that you lost your best friend from work?
Like I said, we I try to be more extra careful with everything I do, and I try to spend more time with my family as well because we never know when's our last day. So
So, would you consider that as a type of self-care that you have practiced, or what other self-care have you practiced over the last 2 years to help ease pandemic-related stressors?
but yes, in a way, yes, it has helped me with that. I try to like I said, I mean, I practice more. Um, at work, you call it infection control. I mean, you got to practice the infection control a lot stricter than anything else. Like you got to be extra careful with everything.
And did you face any loss of finances because of the pandemic?
No, no. Luckily, thank God we didn't, because like I said, we had to work. We didn't get compensated that much at work. We did, we did while the pandemic was on. We did for a while, but I mean our work. We still had our work, so we no no it didn't affect us. No.
Okay, so now let's talk about your son who is and still is away at college when the pandemic had started. Did the university where your son attended during the pandemic offer any COVID support? If so, what types of support did they offer?
Well, for one, he stayed home for a while because it was the same way doing classes online because of the pandemic. And being since he's in California, it affected California a lot too, like everybody else. But yes, I mean we were worried as we still are because we know that it's still out there, COVID's still out there. Uh, and we talk to him and we tell him to be extra careful with everything he does and wash his hands every time and to be extra careful with everything.
So, did COVID-19 intervene with your son's college finances? If yes, how and what accommodations did you have to make?
No, everything stayed the same since he's going to it's a private university over there, so mostly everything stayed the same. They compensated him with a little bit of money when the pandemic was, but not that much. It wasn't. It's not like a state university, so it's a private university. So everything stayed the same.
And how did you feel knowing that your son was far from home during the pandemic and the various COVID waves and variants that we've endured the last 2 years?
Scared, worried. Being that far, it's not like okay, something happened. We're just drive over there. Like we're gonna be there like in 2 hours. No, it's a 24-hour drive. Um, Definitely scared and worried. Yes.
Did you feel a sense of security with the health regulations or COVID safety measures that the university that your son was attending had implemented on their campus?
Yes, yes, because what we heard from him was that they were taking as well extra precaution. They were checking temperatures every time, and then they had their own testing facility there, like COVID for testing facility. So we felt secure. The university did a good job with that. Yes.
So, Jaime, let's now talk about how this pandemic is affecting the work you do as a dialysis technician. Can you please describe what it is you do for a living?
Yes, like I said, I work in the dialysis field. Uh, when I first started, I didn't know anything about dialysis. Like I said, I have 16 years working at dialysis. Uh, Actually, since I've always been scared of needles, or was scared because now I do that for a living. As you know, Dialysis is when a person needs dialysis because they have renal failure, which is their kidneys aren't working anymore. So they need their dialysis. It's called dialysis. It's a process through a machine, which is a it filters their blood and it returns it. It cleans their blood and disposes fluids and it brings it back to their body. So that's like their artificial kidney, which what a kidney does for us, uh, that's what they need. That they need that. So that's what I do now. It was kind of hard at first. I was scared uh, connecting the patients through putting on the needles, but I mean, you get used to it, and now I love my job. I love it.
So, how was a typical day at work before the COVID-19 pandemic?
Typical day was you go in, I mean, of course, I mean, you do what we have to do. To wash your hands. We like like everything because in the medical field you have to do that. I mean, like I said, you have to treat every person like. I mean, I don't want to sound mean, but let's say there's a you gotta treat every person the same, like that they have HIV or they have this or they have it. I mean, you gotta treat them the same. So you gotta be extra, especially because we work with needles and blood as well. So we had to just do our job the way we needed to do our job. I mean, we needed to wash our hands, clean the machines as well. I mean, like we always do. Like, but
Yes,
it wasn't. I didn't. We didn't feel that much of a pressure before.
yes, like being extra careful.
Yes.
So, how did the pandemic affect your field of work?
Oh, definitely it did affect it because, like I said, I mean, their patients they need their treatment, and we need to be there as well. I mean, so like I said, there was many patients that lost their battle as well with that virus. So we don't know where it was coming from. It was coming from they got it. They got infected at home. They got infected there. So like I said, it was scary, and it did affect definitely affected us, affected me.
And how did you feel knowing that your job of occupation was at a higher risk during the pandemic?
Uh, scared. I felt scared. I didn't. What first thing I thought? First thing I would say was I don't want to take it home. I don't want to affect my kids. I don't want to affect my wife. Um, so took extra precaution, as like I said, but definitely I felt scared. It was scary. It's not that scary anymore because we're all vaccinated. We check uh we check their in their record in their charts. All of our patients are vaccinated already. All of the employees are vaccinated already, so it's not that scary anymore. But yes, it was scary. Yes.
And did your workplace, such as your employer or the company itself, make any accommodations during the pandemic regarding its patients and employees?
Like I said, I mean they took extra precaution as well, and we they accommodated the patients to where they felt comfortable going to dialysis because I mean the patients were scared as well, and they had their doubts. They had their I mean I don't want to go to the clinic because I can get infected. So like they they took extra precaution and we took extra precaution as well. So I think we did it. We handled it good. I think we did handle it good.
So would you say that as an employee, you felt safe with the health regulations the clinic was implementing on the employers themselves?
Yes, yes, definitely, yes, yes. We took temperatures. We still do every patient that comes in, including us. They take our temperatures, see if we don't have any high temperature, any fevers, and same with the patient. So I think yes, yes, they did a real good job.
And have you, like how you mentioned before that you did witness your patients getting sick. So how did witnessing these sick patients of COVID-19 make you feel at the time or even at present?
Uh, felt worried. Felt worried because you never know where they get it from, or then you never know if you contacted him. Sometimes you tend to we spend a lot of time with our patients, so it's sometimes it's like family because we're there. The patients when you're in dialysis, you gotta go 3 days a week to dialysis. So it's either Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or it's either Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday. So you tend to be a lot with those patients. So you do worry for them. You do, and you say, how did they get that virus, or how were they contact? Like, was it here, or was it like, or maybe I don't remember. Did I touch him, or I can get that virus as well? So it was scary and worried. Yes, yes, for sure.
So because of that emotional connection the employers and the patients built, it affected the employees emotionally when they would lose their patients, you would say?
Yes, definitely, definitely. We still do. I mean, like I said, I mean, we spend a lot of time with them. We spend a lot of time with them. So uh, you tend to bond. So it is. You do feel it when something happens to them. Not only COVID, or when they pass, or when I mean, not because necessarily because of COVID, but you do feel yes, yes, definitely.
Do you find yourself facing difficulties in separating your work stress from your personal life?
No, no, not at all, not at all. I mean, whatever happens at work, I leave it at work. I don't bring it home. We do still talk sometimes about it, my wife and I, but we don't tend to make it a problem with that. No, whatever happens at home stays at home. Whatever happens at work, stays. I don't like to. It does hurt sometimes, and I like I said, we talk about it, and she talks about her problems. I talk about problems, but we don't let it get to us.
So how were dialysis clinics specifically impacted by COVID-19? Do you think patients that were undergoing hemodialysis should have been consulted at home rather than at a clinic? Why?
No, no, because for first of all, I mean, you can. There's a way you can do it at home, but it's a process. It's called at home. It's called peritoneal. You do it through your stomach, but I mean, not everybody can do it because of their physical, or not everybody can do that. And they had to being in hemodialysis means you got to go to the clinic. I mean, the machines are at the clinic. You can't do it at home. It doesn't work that way. No.
And were the employees, including yourself at the clinic, offered any additional medical support, such as sick leave?
Yes, yes, for sure. There was a lot of thank God I never got the COVID. I was sick once. Uh, they did my test and I came out negative, so I continued to work. But there was yeah, being vaccinated and everything. But when it first started, there was a lot of my coworkers that they did get infected. So they were paying sick leave. Yes, they were paying it. So they were helping out that way. Yes.
And have you had to perform or learn any new tasks at work because of COVID-19? If yes, which ones?
Not exactly. Like I said, I mean, we just take extra precaution with everything. They taught us how to take extra precaution, but not necessarily. I mean, it stayed almost the same. Just being careful with everything.
So, if you had a patient that got infected with COVID-19, would everything work the same, or what would be the process there?
No, no, no. The process was it worked like this. Whenever a patient comes in, we check their temperature. We ask them if they had any symptoms, if anything hurts. Uh, and most of the patients were real good with that coming because I mean, sometimes you're scared and you don't want to admit it. So and you're like, oh, everything's fine. But all of the patients that were feeling sick, headache, high fevers, what we did was there was a clinic, a special clinic for that. It was like 20 minutes away from here. That was our special COVID clinic. So we didn't let them into the facility. Once they would say, or once they would had fever, or once they said their head hurts, right away we tested them and we send them to do their treatment at that other clinic, that COVID clinic. So that's why I'm saying we did a real good job with all that. Nobody entered having COVID. Nobody entered the clinic having COVID.
Yeah, so
Once
they would,
any Yes, once
sorry.
any symptoms, any little symptom, we would send them to Harlingen. That's where our clinic is. The other clinic, just for our COVID clinic. It was they. I mean, it's a regular clinic now, but at that time it was our COVID clinic. So we used to send everybody over there.
So yeah, so
And
they would get immediately transported.
yes, and then they will have to go to that clinic. It was for 14 days, like the COVID, the protocol, or like it was like, I mean, you have to be isolated for 14 days, and then they would get checked again, and until it was a negative, their test, and then they could come back already. But it wasn't like we never had any COVID patients inside the building, inside the treatment area.
And has your field of work provided its employees any new benefits since their occupation was at a higher risk during the pandemic?
No, no, like I said, they compensated for a couple of months. They were helping us money wise. They gave us like a some kind of like a little bonus, but they stopped doing that. I mean, but that was about it. It wasn't much, and it wasn't. I mean, it was kind of like I said, it was scary there. I mean, but they did help like that. Yes.
So this last section asks you to share any stories or that you have about this pandemic and the response by local, state, and national elected officials. Feel free to respond or pass on any of these questions. So, do you feel satisfied with the local response to COVID-19 in Brownsville or Rancho Viejo and Cameron County over these last 2 years?
In a way, yes, I do think, because I mean, we weren't ready for that. Like most of the, not only necessarily here but other states as well, we weren't ready for this pandemic. But I think that we did a real good job here in Bronzeville or the Rio Grande Valley. I mean, you can only do so much. I mean, what I heard that in the hospitals, it was extra capacity. I mean, they didn't have anywhere to put so many patients. So in a way, I do think that we did a real good job here in Bronzeville and in the Rio Grande Valley.
Are you satisfied with the state response to COVID-19 leader by Governor, excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, Abbott, Abbott over
Yeah, but
these
yes,
over these last couple of years?
I think he's done a good job. I mean, I think he's done a real good job with the pandemic as well. I mean, it's not a well, maybe like I said, I mean, compensate more of a, but it's not up to him necessarily, just him. But I think that like I said, we did a good job. I mean, you can only do so much. I mean, and being in the medical field as nurses or doctors at the hospitals, they were overwhelmed. I mean, it was too much, because nobody we didn't expect so many uh, contacted. I mean, so many contaminated, or so they could only do too much. But being the governor, I think he did a good job. Yes.
And how do you feel about the national response to COVID-19 by President Trump in the year 2020 and then President Biden from 2021 to the present?
Like I said, I mean, I don't really know exactly what they could have done, or I mean, it was new to all of us, or to them as well, and I don't know what else could, like I said, maybe what I feel like they should have done everything mandatory, like I said, mandatory vaccines, and they should have prevented a lot, or they should have worked with that vaccine a lot quicker, and maybe we shouldn't have lost so many lives.
So you would have preferred if they would have taken a faster action towards the pandemic?
Yes, yes, exactly. Faster. I know it takes time to prepare a vaccine or to develop a vaccine. It does take time, but I feel like ever since it started happening in other places, we should have prepared faster. Yes.
So if you had the power of a political office to respond to COVID-19, what would you do differently?
Uh, Try to, like I said, try to get things done faster in a faster way. I know it takes time, but would have tried to prevent it in that way. Try to get those vaccines quicker. Try to do a lot more. Try to get more equipment a lot quicker. But I mean, sometimes it's not just one person. I mean, it's a ladder. I mean, it's higher than you, so you can only do too much.
This is a special year in our national democracy because it's a midterm election voting year. Do you plan to vote? And if so, is the issue of COVID-19 going to factor into your votes?
I do plan to vote, but I don't think. I mean, and this year it won't COVID-19. I won't affect that much, not like the past years. But I mean, I do. I'm gonna vote, but it won't affect as much. No.
And will you consider the national response to the COVID-19 pandemic in your vote for a presidential candidate?
Not necessarily. No.
Is there any sort of help or aid you could have used at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic to make your life more manageable or less stressful? Or is there any assistance you wish you had at this point in the pandemic?
Well, like I said, I mean, any compensation would help us. I mean, we wouldn't mind any real good compensation, but I mean, I know it's not gonna happen because I know that COVID's. I mean, it's slowing down. I know it's still out there, but that would have been nice. Yes.
So, would you say that you would speak for many other medical workers that wish they would have been compensated more?
Oh yes, definitely yes.
And what impact or purpose do you hope your story may have on listeners of the Voices of a Pandemic digital archives?
Just a little bit of our of dialysis, how it works, how the clinic work. Hopefully, it helps others. But just a little bit of my story. Hopefully it helps others, and hopefully it'll do good for them.
And is there anything else you would like to share with me about your experiences with COVID-19 that I have not asked about?
No, not really. I mean, we probably talked about most of it. No, not really. I mean, I talked about how it affected me, how it affected my family, how I lost my friend due to the COVID, so it did affect me emotionally. Um, but no, you did a real good job on other questions, and hopefully, it does help you, and hopefully, it does help others be more careful with all this pandemic going on.
So thank you, Jaime Uvalle, for sharing your stories with me, the Voices of a Pandemic Oral History Project. And I do hopefully as well um hope I do hope I do hope that this will teach or not teach sort of impact the listeners on your perspective as a medical worker, since medical workers do kind of are well were kind of and still maybe are overlooked, such as when the pandemic was happening, like how you said you guys should have been compensated more.
Yes, yes, and thank you for everything. I mean, thank you for this interview you gave me, Alexa. You did a real good job, and I think, I mean, that was good because I mean, sometimes. tend to keep everything inside. I mean, it was good letting everything out. So it was good. It was a good story. Thank you so much for everything you did.
Thank you.